All right, guys. What's going on? Welcome to another episode of the Mood Lifters. How are y'all doing today?
What's going on, you guys? I'm doing good today. It's been a good week. What's going on, Grant?
I'm tired. um, no, I'm good. I'm finally figuring out all the stress stuff, and I've been stagnant for a couple weeks. And today I've lost from yesterday I lost like 2 pounds. So getting my food back in order and
Nice.
ready to start hitting it again. Now that the stressors are starting to come down.
Hell yeah. Wow, my voice cracked.
Hell yeah.
I was gonna say hell yeah, because once that stressors come down and you have that big focus on what we are just talking about with your job and stuff, you're gonna be able to, like, once you get that down and get that, habitually ingrained, you learn all the stuff, and it requires a lot less brain energy than you give in to start. It's going to be so much less stressful, and then you're going to be like, all right, I can manage this with the other crazy stressors I have in my life. So I'm pretty pumped for you, Grant. There's a lot of stuff coming at you right now, but you're still staying the course regardless. You may not be able to give it your all with the physical activity and the nutrition, but it's still there. So I'm pretty pumped for you and that you're handling it pretty well. So.
Hey man, I'm getting the nutrition back in line. I'm getting ready to. I'm gonna stop and grab breakfast from this place that makes these really good breakfast scramble bowls, and then I got an overnight oat snack for later.
Hell yeah.
So a lot better than a cheeseburger and French fries.
Yeah. Dude, I was gonna say too, like I told you guys in the chat before, like I went to Chipotle earlier this week, and the chicken was like very F tier. I was actually shocked.
What?
Yeah, like the chicken, like I mean the one right by our place, at least, or by where I'm at. Yeah, the chicken was like, it was like a shredded chicken. And and usually I'm not one to be super picky about food, but I was just looking forward to like the Chipotle style like the Chipotle chicken, how it's prepped and stuff. And it was just like super shredded, and it just tasted really gross. And I was like, I don't know if they're trying to cut costs or something like that with all the inflation going on, but like I was just like, I can't go back for a while until this thing gets situated. And I actually went to Fuji Grill, and it's like the Fuji Grill is a little bit more low key, but like the amount of protein you get in their little teriyaki bowls are like, I was like, that's what I need. I'm like, I guess I'm going to Fuji Grill for a while, because Chipotle just broke my heart.
You ever try getting their steak or something instead? You don't
I
have to get
should,
the chicken.
yeah, I know. I just like that chicken, but I'm definitely gonna, if I'm gonna order from them, I'm definitely gonna get steak going forward. Just hoping that the steak doesn't turn out to be like low quality either.
Low quality beef.
I'm like, my heart is broken for Chipotle, but it is what it is. Fuji Grill is pretty damn good. So
You should send them a tweet.
and I should be like, I am so appalled. 1 star, sir. I need to speak to your manager. No.
If Yelp was still a thing, I'd 1 star you.
But yeah, for me, guys, like what's going on is like this week has been kind of hazy for me. So I've been writing down every single day what one thing I was doing that was eventful. And that was very helpful for me, because like the days feel like they're going by so quickly because I just have so many things that I'm juggling. And I just feel like I haven't had that me time. And what I started doing was I was telling Chris, I've been like, the one thing I was missing is just reading a book, reading some sort of nonfiction book that I can learn from, and just sitting down and reading at least 5 to 10 pages of it a day. That would pump me up for the rest of my day. And I've been doing it in the mornings. It's been super helpful. But like when I wasn't doing it, I just felt like I was feeling kind of like whatever. But then when I started doing it, I started feeling a lot more better as a result. And I'm really focusing on doing a lot of that on the weekends too. And not like put too much work on the other stuff that I got going on, but really focus on the me time during on the weekends as well.
And I think that's also important, is making sure you do have some me time on the weekends, because if you do just go all the time, then it's like your mental health like just deteriorates, and then it affects everything else in your life, to include working out and dieting and your job performance and everything else.
Oh yeah, I've been super hard on myself these past few days because I'm like sitting here and I'm like, there's a lot of for everybody. There's a lot of stuff going on. You're looking at the cryptocurrency, stock market, all that stuff. We talked about crypto before. All my stuff has just went like it's tanked so bad, and
Right.
like it's that kind of stuff where you're worrying about that. You're worrying about inflation. You're worrying about all this stuff, and it's like those are things that we can't really control, but finding out, like, really focusing on the things that we do have control over is super helpful. And going back to that overall, it was just so hard on myself with the financial stuff because for me, my goal is to build this brand up and build this up so I don't have to rely on other sources of trying to make money and stuff, that I have something that I'm enjoying and working towards and building up. And I'm hard on myself because it's not there yet, but it does take time for this kind of stuff for it to happen. And I just have to be patient with the process. And I feel like my mindset is where it's like, oh, I need to keep doing and doing and doing and doing. And while it makes sense to an extent, there's certain things like for example, virality doesn't happen like as soon as you post this like 500th video. It can happen days after you post your 20th video,
Yeah.
and it's like I have to kind of understand that. I have to kind of get that in my brain where it's like I don't want to like deteriorate the quality of the stuff that I'm putting out to just get it out for in volume. I would rather really focus on the time on what I'm putting in. And this is where I'm feeling today. This week, I was feeling a little bit more of that burnout. So what I decided to do, like I told you, is like a little bit less time on the business stuff, and then really focus on the me time on the weekends.
Yeah, and I think that's important. Something that a mentor recently told me is to go do something, whatever it is, like your business, your job, the gym, the whatever, and do it without expecting results. Or I forget how he said it. Do it without the expecting of you're going to have a video go viral, or you're going to lose all this weight in a month. You're going to do all this other stuff, and just give yourself the freedom to just go do it and enjoy it. And at first I was like, okay, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, like, sure. And it's like the more I thought about it, the more it made sense, right? Because it's like if you give yourself the freedom to just, make content and serve your person, and then without caring if your video gets go viral, then they're going to go viral, right? If you just give yourself permission to start going to the gym and losing weight, without the expectation that you're going to lose, 100 pounds in 4 months or 5 months, then, just go in there for you, then, you know what I mean? That's going to really take off. So, like, something I did, and I kind of took his advice, is I slowed down as well a little bit, right? Because I was going, and he was saying how, you got to take time for you, do stuff without, to just serve your person, right? And so for me, this week, I got my house like completely in order, cleaned up and everything. And one of the things that I enjoy as a hobby is I get together with my friends twice a month, and we play like Dungeons and Dragons and other like board games and stuff, right? And so that's wrapping up. That's coming to an end because one of my friends, like the one who hosts everything, they're leaving, they're moving off islands. We can't do it anymore. So I took up the mantle and I said, "Hey guys, like I'll host it. Like I'll do it, and then we're going to do it at my house." What that allowed me to do is that forced me to have a clean home. It forced me to, be more social, and it guaranteed that at least once a week I'm going to be doing something fun for myself that I enjoy doing, and I'm going to be around people that I enjoy being around, and all that kind of compounds on each other, right? Because having a clean home, it's just in general less stress and whatnot. Being around friends and taking time to go do something, it forces you to slow down and then just enjoy the ride. You know what I mean?
I really appreciate that as a reminder myself, because working on this business stuff excites me and it really helps me help a lot of people out. I need to kind of recharge when I want to relax and stuff. I'm a very introverted person. So if I read a book, kick back, read a book outside, I feel like a lot more energized. And I just need to remind myself of that, about that, because I kind of stopped doing that. And that's what happened. Like even when we mentioned with you before the Tribe 5, when we're talking about that in the past, when you miss a few of them, you start to feel off. And
Yeah.
that's what I've been feeling these past couple of days. So I'm pretty sure it was that, because now I'm starting to get that momentum coming back. But like yeah, those past couple of days it just hit me hard. I'm like, what the hell's going on? You
Yeah.
know? But
Yeah. It's like amazing how, one thing always affects another, right? It's a big circle, like how for me having a clean home affects like my mental health, which therefore affects how I eat, which affects how I go to the gym. You know what I mean? Like it all kind of affects each other. So like something I did is I went out and I got like the self journal. I think this people don't know is basically you can plan out your days and your weeks, and you can say, hey, I want to accomplish these 3 goals today. I want to do X, Y, and Z, and it just keeps you focused on just a small little bit of stuff. And I've already started outlining some of my goals for what I want to accomplish in 13 weeks. And a lot of that is I want to change some of my eating habits. I want to change my physical activity, and I want to get a little more active, doing stuff like that. And just even doing something small as if planning it out the night before, it changes everything, right? It really just greatly affects it.
I think I mentioned this in one of the videos, one of our daily videos of the Mood Lifters course content, where it's like even planning out your stuff in the evening for tomorrow can kind of relieve a lot of anxiety that you have of the following day. You get your shit done, journal it out, you prepare your work clothes, take a shower, whatever it is. And that kind of stuff is like that. It's that you time, that quality you time that you can take care of. And I really appreciate you bringing that up, because it's like just reminding me to get back on track with that, because it's always helped me personally. So
Yeah, and like Grant, you could probably speak to this more than I could at the moment, especially because like you lost so much weight, in this past year. Is like doing small things like this, or even just consistently exercising, even if it's just getting your 10,000 steps in, like how that affects every other aspect of your life.
Well, in the beginning, a lot of it was epiphany driven. A lot of self-discovery as far as like the self-sabotaging that I was doing, and that, recognizing that a lot of my eating that I was doing in a day-to-day basis was this self-destructive, like I need to eat my feelings to feel something, or to feel the comfort that I'm craving in my life day to day. But the biggest thing I started doing as far as mindfulness for day-to-day tracking was like, I was discouraged by a few people when I first started doing it, was I was weighing myself every single day, religiously. just once a day. As soon as I wake up, it's like, okay, this is me starting static. All I've got in me is yesterday's waste, and maybe a glass of water with my morning medication for my thyroid. But I started doing that, and then I have a big old calendar in my room that I track big events for, like okay, I got a date on Thursday, I need to write that down so I don't forget it. Or okay, I need to feed the dogs on this specific day because the roommates are going to be gone, something simple like that. But I was also writing down my weight and tracking it. So like from last August to this current June that we're in, I've tracked my weight loss. And that's why I can say confidently, it's like, yeah, I'm down 116 pounds, because it's 580, 83, 81 to 462 this morning. And I've just been very diligent in that regard. I always kind of had an aversion to journaling. I don't know if it's like a fear of change, as far as like just figuring out something that I might not want to be seeing, but I'm also just really lazy in that regard. I don't want to go get a journal and write down every single thought, God forbid. But the simple fact of the matter is that I just started being a lot more mindful of what I was doing. This concept of like a shock factor, and I'm a pretty big believer in that concept, and it's not just like related to like weight, but like just life. And Tony calls it the catalyst. We both have our own definitions of that that moment or that spark that instigates change. But yeah, I hit this epiphany, and I realized I needed to start changing a lot of stuff drastically. And all I did was I started keeping my ears open and willing to take guidance wherever it may come from, and finding what worked for me. You know, some people were like, oh, just do intermittent fasting. And I would go 3 or 4 hours without eating something, and I would get sick. So sick that I'd throw up, I'd get a massive headache, I'd feel like absolute garbage. Other people is like, oh, just have, you know, for every pound you have, eat that many grams of protein in a day. Things like that. So I just started finding things that worked for me. And as different changes and different scenarios presented themselves, I learned to adapt to it. Like even now, like with all these jobs that I'm doing and not really having the kind of time I would like to sit down or not sit down, but stand in the kitchen and actually make some meals and know that I'm going to be solid nutritionally. Like last night was the first time I had like a highly nutritious home cooked meal in a few weeks, just because me and the roommates have all been so crazy busy. And even then, like my brother's in town, so Thursday I went on a date and I ate like crap. Friday I was in Palm Springs and we ate like crap. But being conscious of like that feeling of like, oh man, I ate like crap, I feel like crap, tomorrow needs to be better. And then yesterday I had eggs Benedict with some hash browns, and then I had a candy bar halfway through the day because I was feeling sluggish. And then that night I had a couple slices of my California Pizza Kitchen, California Club pizza. And then we had dinner 2 hours later, and that was some pork belly with some salad and some Brussels sprouts and potatoes that we grew in our backyard. And it was so freaking good, man. Oh, mouth-wateringly delicious. But yeah, that's just kind of what's worked for me. It's always gonna be different for everybody. But the mindfulness was definitely something I was definitely not mindful of a year and a half ago. At that point in time, I just didn't care. You know, I'm pretty sure I've mentioned it before in the previous episodes. When I would go grocery shopping, I do air quotes when I'm saying that right now. When I would go grocery shopping, I would sit down at the computer and I would say, what looks good? And I would just scroll through Albertsons.com and for the online shopping. I'd say, oh, cheesecake, buy that. Oh, bratwurst, buy that. Oh, and I would just keep going down the list. And so I'm like, you know what? That seems like enough for a couple days. That's good. And that's how I would do my shopping. I wouldn't be like, okay, I need to get some Brussels sprouts. I need to get some spinach for my eggs. I need to do this. I need to do that. I need to do this. And just kind of making like an actual freaking grocery list. You know what I'm saying?
Grant, can we just take a moment and say like, holy cow, 116 pounds? You know what I mean? Like, geez, way to go, man.
Thanks. I appreciate it. It's been like, there's been times where it's easier and there's been times where it's harder. And like, especially recently, it's been a little difficult because I've been discouraged with the, it's been like 3 weeks I've been at the same weight. But it's like I've also taken some solace in like, oh, I'm still maintaining, I'm not gaining, and that's the biggest part for me in that regard. It's like while I wasn't losing, I wasn't putting any back on, and I've been pretty proud of myself in that regard.
That's definitely a thing to look at too. Making that progress. Just as if you need to take a step back. Once you get back on track, I mean, Chris has noticed this too, is like, you have to take one step back and then you'll be able to make those 2 steps forward, and just keep pushing, man. You have that awareness piece, which is really important. And I think like, especially with people starting their nutrition journeys and exercise journeys, one of the things is just like, to start with the foundational stuff, just get something in, eat slightly better, just be aware of what you're eating throughout the day and just make slight adjustments. With things like calorie tracking and all that stuff. And we mentioned this before, like calorie tracking, like everything you consume is calories, but the only thing is like, it's better to eat, like create that foundation of better nutritional habits than just calorie tracking, because what happens if you're not able to calorie track, everything falls apart. You don't know what to eat, you freak out. And I think it's so important to go with the foundational stuff and just, understand portion control, understand what you're eating throughout the day, choose healthier options and stuff. I think this is like the most important thing. The calorie tracking and all that stuff can come for somebody that's like a little bit more, if they're like one of those guys that runs of like a big, massive company, and they're like, somebody prep my stuff for me, keep me fit and do all this stuff. Or if they're like an athlete, it's like, all right, create my calorie, my meal plan and all that stuff. They're going to be able to focus primarily on that. Most people don't want that rigidity. Most people want that flexibility, and learning the foundations, you can add that flexibility to it.
Yeah, and also, for people to realize that there are no rules, right? So you can do whatever you want. Like Grant was saying, find what works for you, and then go do that, right? Just because something works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for Tony. Something works for Tony's not going to work for Grant. So when you're worried about going to the gym and you're sitting here and you're like, oh man, like I have to do all these exercises, or I have to do it in this specific way and whatnot. And obviously be safe when exercising, right? Do proper form and all that. But the point is, find what works for you. There are no rules, right? If you need to have 3 cheat meals a week versus, someone who is like, I just have one, then do it. You know what I mean? Like just start small and build up from there,
Hell yeah. And then if you find that with time, things don't work like they used to, make a slight adjustment and try it out and see what happens. I know like some of the clients in the past, like that I've had, especially when I was a personal trainer, some of the stuff they would be dealing with is like, oh, I'm not getting enough weight loss. They told me to track this many calories and I'm here, or they're like, oh, this is how much I'm eating. And it seems like they need to get like they have to make a slight adjustment depending on how they're feeling, or depending on like, let's say, for example, they're in a long period of dieting, adding a little bit more food to their diet can actually facilitate some weight loss, because they've just been so depleted, and just that slight adjustment actually works for them. Or on the other end, where it's like somebody's just getting started, they saw progress for a few weeks, and now it's starting to slow down just a little bit. It's like, take this portion of this carb portion that you have. Let's say you have like a whole entire couple cups of brown rice, bring that down and cut it in half or something, and try that out and see where it goes. And it's just like one adjustment for the meal, just one meal, and people will see results from it. And it's literally that, like you just, like I mentioned, and Chris has mentioned, start with the foundation, go from there, make slight adjustments over time. And then when things are feeling good and you're seeing that progress, stay that course until it starts to slow down again, and then make a slight adjustment and just keep going from there.
Let me ask you guys this question. How do you feel after working out? Like, how does that affect the rest of your days?
For me, it always feels like it energizes my entire day. So
yeah, right.
Yeah, like even if the I'm weightlifting and I'm like super exhausted after weightlifting, I always feel like I had weight lifted off my shoulders. So I feel like 100 times better from it. I've realized that my entire life, like it's a stressor that helps you build more resilience. Like you get some physical activity in, some stress, but then like your body and mind are better able to handle other stressors in your life. And I can tell you from personal experience, when I started my journey, and also when I had this brief period where I had this insane job, the exercise kept me sane. And I've mentioned this before. It's like large bouts of stress can lead to like depression and, suicidal thoughts and stuff. And exercise has been one of the things that I utilize to kind of push back against that regularly. And when I first started my journey, I didn't do any, I didn't do any activity. But then when I started doing it, I was able to handle the other stressors in my life, where let's say people were coming at me and they're insulting me. Like before, I would be devastated that somebody insulted me at school. You get a lot tougher mentally. And I can tell you from working at my job at a rental car company in the past, there's one time I was managing 4 locations at the same time. And it was like that I was surprised my hair didn't turn gray or anything like along the lines of that. It was only like 2 or 3 months, but I was just like, I was there from like 6 to 6:30 p.m., 6 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. And I was just like miserable. And it's like, I'm the manager. So it was just absolutely insane. But the exercise helped me a lot. When I was super stressed out and I went to go work out after, I felt a million times better. I slept peacefully. I woke up and I was like, oh, another round. But I was able to handle the stress from that as best as I possibly could. I can tell you, if I didn't have exercise during that time, I would be severely depressed. But even though I was stressed, the exercise helped me better handle the stress, so I didn't lose my mind and go crazy in front of everybody. You know, me being a manager, losing my composure, and exercise helped me get through it. As crazy as it sounds, it kind of like that energy and that, you know, ability to sleep better and that, you know, ability to handle those stressful situations, you know, is all because of exercise.
Yeah, dude. Like I feel like I feel like that speaks volumes right there, right? Because even I kind of feel a lot about what you're saying. It's like after you work out, you ultimately you just feel better, right? Even a bad workout, you still overall feel better, and then you stop kind of listening to what other people are saying because you're riding that high, right? And exercise doesn't always have to be the gym. It could still be like going on walks or running or hiking or CrossFit or powerlifting or just regular gym workout. It can be so many different things. Grant, since you're the subject matter expert here on weight loss, whatnot, how do you feel when you work out?
I'm gonna be honest. the initial like hour and a half after a really hard session for me, I feel like dog shit, man. I'm gonna be honest. However, I think it's because when I do work out, I push myself really hard and I strain myself really hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's just like, nuclear fallout for that hour after of like, okay, my body is really feeling that stress that I exerted. But after that timeline, I definitely start to feel a lot better. But that's in regards to like heavy weightlifting, like just moving a lot of weight. My walking and stuff, I feel pretty good about it. I feel proud of myself. Because I'm still big, I still feel a lot of resistance as far as like, oh man, my mental tells me like you're really tired. You should take a break, stuff like that. Because I still do have a lot more to go. I've made great steps already, but I do have a lot more progress to make. The mood that it puts me in is interesting because I've definitely noticed that it's perceived differently. So like with my friends, I've definitely noticed like when I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go for a walk. They're like, okay, have a good time. But then I try to like encourage them to go on a walk with me or to do the same thing, and they're like, nah, I'm good. And I'm like, oh man, come on, everybody can use a walk. Like, let's go. Move it. It's just weird adopting this mentality that like not my peers aren't doing the same thing. And it's an interesting thing to see happening. Which I'm glad I get to talk to you guys about this every week. It's refreshing because I know I'm talking to people who feel the same way, which is great for me. It's encouraging because there are often times where it's like, oh man, who the hell cares? Like I
mm-hmm.
feel myself starting to slide a little bit back towards the apathetic, like, oh, just eat whatever you want. Go get a whole fucking cheesecake and eat it. Who's gonna care? You won't care because you're gonna have a cheesecake in your tummy. You're gonna be happy until I get sick from it. And but yeah, no, exercise initially don't feel so great, but the adrenaline and that I'll call it what it is. It's an adrenaline high that everybody gets from a good workout. Everybody likes that feeling. I've never really been an adrenaline junkie personally. I don't, I'm not the kind of person who's like, let's go skydiving. I need to do that on my bucket list. But I can understand why some people enjoy it.
This whole time, we're just trying to get you guys to join a cult. right? The weightlifting call. That's all this is.
You
It's
know
finally
what?
out.
It's true. It's true. This, we're at episode, was it episode 12? Yep. The truth is revealed. No, but what I was gonna say to Grant, going back to that, when you're talking, your buddies for the, go on walks and stuff, and they're like, nah. I'll tell you this from personal experience. When I started my weight loss journey and people saw me achieve it, people were more interested in working out. And I could tell you a few of my high school friends are actually working out, and they're like, thanks to you, like I lift weights. It's all because you motivated me to do so, because I saw the progress you made and went towards it. And I can tell you from personal experience, even in my immediate family, even though my mom pushed me to get into the gym when I first started, now I motivated my brother, I motivated his friends just to work out, and they're all doing it. And it's all because I initiated this one thing. And I don't like to look at myself as like you were saying before, the catalyst of it all. But when people see you putting in the work and they see that you're able to do that while doing, the other aspects of your life, they're like, oh, it's possible for me too. They're going to come to you. Obviously, like when this happens, I will tell you guys this. Some people will come to you for like a free, like, give me the keys to my success. And you guys know it's like different for everybody. You can give little tips.
You are your own key.
Yeah, pretty much. You just got to figure it out for yourself. We can give you like little tips here and there that can help you on your journey, but it's also like it's a self journey. But then you also have that group of people. This is what we made the group for, is like, we can all come together. We can talk about, what we're doing. And if somebody sees something they can make a suggestion towards, we can do that. And just everyone that's listening to this is like, get started on your journey. When you start to see the big results, the people that weren't on board will eventually be on board and be inspired by what you're doing. And they're like, if they can do it, I can as well. And that's what we want to do. We want to cause this chain reaction, especially on the mental health stuff. It's like exercise and mental health motivates people to, come together and do all this and really see the results. I really want to see, people's mindset shifts dramatic, like Chris has had, like Grant has had. Like, it's an incredible experience to witness. And I would love for more people to be a part of that. And I would love for people's lives to be changed off of one little thing, which is just get moving,
Yeah, I would love to see more people, comment or even like just post in the Facebook group and then just talk more about their journey and what they're going through. Because, it's like we'll get some DMs here and there and, other people reaching out, but it's just like publicly share it. Like, I know a lot of people, and, me included for a long time, was always afraid to get started because we always thought about what are other people going to think, right? Like, what are my family going to think? What are my friends going to think? What are, these randos at the gym going to think, of, seeing me do all this stuff and I don't know what I'm doing and what if I fail and whatnot. And it's just so, once you realize that no one cares, people don't think about you as much as you think about, as you think they think about you. You know what I mean? It's like, how often does it cross your mind that your cousin, what your cousin is doing, right? And then when they do something that's off the wall, how often are you judging them for it and being like, oh, oh, that's cool. That's usually what happens, right? Or like some friend or some whatever, like no one cares, as much. Like, am I in the minority here on this?
I don't think it's that they don't care. I just think it's that they don't. People think about you a lot less than you think that they think about you.
Yeah.
In a negative term. But when you post a positive change, or when you post even like a negative change or something, it stands to reason that they'll probably, if they see it, it'll come to mind and they'll think about it for a little bit. Maybe they'll reach out, or maybe they'll dwell on it for a little bit. But they're not going to think about you nearly as much as you think that they're going to think about you. Everyone's got their own shit going on.
Yeah, and it's like, and if they do, like, think about you in a negative way, who cares?
That's on them.
Yeah, right? You're not responsible for anyone else's happiness other than yourself. Like I saw a video on TikTok, I think this morning or last night, and it was basically talking about how it was a gym guy, and he was like, why are you shoveling, like, why are you pretty much poisoning yourself, right? You're just shoving all this, just junk and sugar and everything in your body when you should be eating healthy and doing all this, working out and living yourself, because you only got one body, you only got one life, so take care of it. And I was like, that makes sense, man.
Agree, man. Agree 100%. You know, just thinking about all this is just it's funny to think about because like it's it's easy to say like, oh yeah, you know, just get started. And I know there's that fear, that hesitation to get started. And it initially always requires like a ton of mental commitment to start. But once you're in it and you do it for a long period of time, that mental commitment, that energy required to make that commitment lessens, and you're able to just instinctively do it. And that's what I call like the discipline muscles being worked, where it's like, you know, when you feel stressed, you're like, oh, exercise. When you feel like you're having a bad day, oh, exercise. If you don't do the exercise and your body's urging you to get the exercise in, then you know that the discipline muscles are working, and that comes with time, that comes with repetition. And just thinking about this, like it's ultimately what we're telling you to do is like understand that exercise is only one part of our lives. Like, okay, I have a brand that revolves around it, but I got 500 other things going on in my life. But what I do, this, you know, 30 to 60-minute activity, I can handle everything else, no problem. And I know that a lot of hesitation is like, especially if you look on social media, when people tell you to exercise, people automatically want you to dedicate, you know, your life to it, you know, or it's implied that you have to dedicate your life to it when it's not necessarily true. Like I mentioned, going back to some top performers, like some entrepreneurs and stuff, they're like, oh yeah, I get my morning exercise in, and then I got to handle my business. I got to handle my kids. You know, I got to take care of this. I got to take that. That's how it is. Like just it's commit to 30 to 60 minutes of it, and then get back, you know, into the other aspects of your life. And when you do that, you start to notice that it actually enhances the other aspects. So that going back to what we've been talking about initially, you know, helping other aspects of our lives, it may require some initial commitment at first, but then it's going to require less. And then it's going to help you, you know, bring a little bit more positivity, bring you a little bit more energy, you know, bring you a little bit more excitement to your life. So,
And and I think a lot of that can be knocked out in the morning, right? Like having a solid morning routine. You know, first thing in the morning, you know, you get up, maybe take care of the animals, the kids, you know, or whatever you need to. But then, you know, taking the dogs on a walk, you know, like Grant does, or going to work out, you know, and just, you know, getting that knocked out first thing in the morning, so that energy, you know, just, you know, propels you through the rest of the day, right? Because at the end of the day, you know, you're tired mentally and physically from a long day's worth of BS you had to deal with, and then it just becomes harder to do, you know.
and I've always loved the morning workouts so much because you got the hard, in my opinion, you get the hardest part of your day taken care of. And then like the rest of it is so much easier. You know, for me, squatting, you know, squatting hundreds of pounds and then going into work, you know, for an 8-hour shift, the squatting hundreds of pounds is a lot more like intense than higher intensity than the 8-hour shift. And then being able to tackle that head on, that's where the stress resilience comes through. You're like, I just got that, you know, I just squatted that up, or I just pushed the weight off my chest, and all this other crazy little things in my life are not as like difficult as before, because this is actually the lot more challenging thing, but it's helping me, you know, improve my both my body and mind to handle the other stuff. And that's where we got to be. That's where we got to be at, so that, you know, we can just tackle stuff head on, in all aspects of our lives. And it just comes with, you know, building that resilience.
Mm-hmm.
Helping other aspects of your life with physical activity.
Yeah, I was like 100%. I know, like, because I'm out in Hawaii, right? All of my exercise gets done usually in the afternoon, just because, you know, the time difference of everything. So I wake up, you know, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and within like 20, 30 minutes, I'm hopping on a meeting or a call, you know, because all my people I'm meeting with is on East Coast time, which is 6 hours ahead. So for them, it's already, you know, 11 a.m., noon, you know, 1 o'clock. And so if I notice that on days when I have to do that, I'm overall less productive than on days whenever I can start my work day at like a normal time, and I can go to the gym, or I can walk my dogs, or I can, you know, just have that little bit of a me time, you know, in the morning. Then I notice that I'm far more productive throughout the rest of the day.
That definitely makes a lot of sense. Chris, are you planning on staying in Hawaii? Did you consider that, or?
Yeah, so I'm here until September now, right?
Mhm.
You know, just because of my own mistake. But so I'm looking at two options right now. So one is in September, the end of September, move back to the East Coast, maybe Ohio, that's where the family is, cheaper cost of living overall. And it'll just allow me to do, save more money, do a lot more things with it. But my friends out here in Hawaii, they're like, hey, we should just, live together, right? Get a bigger house than what we each have now, because we each have our own houses. Like just get a bigger house and then split the rent, split the utilities and everything. So then we I can stay in Hawaii longer. It doesn't cost as much for anyone. And then, we just have to deal with the whole, having actual roommates and whatnot, right? And both sides have their ups and downs. And the way I'm looking at it is I love hiking, I love exercising, I love being outdoors. And Hawaii has been so good for my mental health just because it's so, beautiful here. It's so, I don't know, clarifying. I don't know. It's different, right? And so part of me is like, hey, you know what? Like I can save money in the future. So Ohio will always be there. I'm already here now. Let's just stay and rock it out. And then continue making those progresses and those gains. Then the other part of me is like, well, you've been here for 3 years. It was fun. You got what you needed to get out of it. Now let's move on to the next stage of your life, which would be Ohio or maybe Texas or somewhere a little more cheaper, so we can start doing other things like cross country road trips or seeing other sites, save more money, investing in more of our future for financial. So it's kind of up in the air right now. I'm not sure which way we're going to go.
That's definitely tricky. Just thinking about it on like your perspective,
Mm-hmm.
like the whole entire cross country thing. I know that you'd be interested in that. That is definitely tricky, man.
Right. Well, it's like here in Hawaii, at least on Oahu, it's like the gyms, they don't have stuff like saunas or steam rooms, and that's something I do enjoy at the gym. And then plus like traffic's just terrible. So if I want to go to like an actual gym, it's at minimum like 30-40 minute drive one way, depending with traffic and everything. Versus I know like in Ohio, or just pretty much anywhere on the mainland, gyms are a dime a dozen, they're everywhere. So it's like you can find one 10-15 minutes away, and it probably has that pool and that hot tub and that, sauna and that, everything else. So you can still go get a solid workout and then go enjoy those extra amenities afterwards. So I am trying to like look at it from both ways. And then, but it's like out here, you get all this fresh fruit and all this other, delicious, awesome things versus, it's like in Ohio, it's gas station sushi. You know what I mean? It's like it's different.
Oh man, just thinking about Hawaii with the food options, that gets me that gets me like my ears perked up. I go on to like Europe and stuff, especially by the Mediterranean. Like they have their fresh fish, and it's like you taste that quality. I don't know, it's crazy. I would love to visit Hawaii and just like try the food there, because I know for a fact that once I do that, I'm like, okay, maybe I should live here.
Yeah, right, dude. It's like everyone who's ever came has always had the thought at some point, I should live here. Like speaking like on the mental health side of things, I was hanging out with my friends for our weekly gaming session, yesterday, because I started hosting it. And so when it was all done, we went down to the beach. I live like 30-second car ride to the beach, right? And where I'm at, there's like a bar on the beach you can go to. So like we went to the bar on the beach and they got like their drinks, and I think I got like a Blue Hawaiian. It's the first like alcoholic drink I've had in probably like 6 months, right? I don't drink much. And we're sitting there and we're just like looking out over the ocean and the mountains and everything. And they're like, can you believe we live here? And I was like, no, I can't. No, I cannot. Like it looks like something out of a movie.
When I'm like by the coast, but by our beach side, there's some places that I want. It's goals, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then here in California, it's like if I want to live right by the like beach, right in this area, the house is like a couple mil.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, well, I guess I got to exit multiple companies before I can. But it's like an ideal goal. It'd be really nice to live, if like the Newport Beach area. Rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. He lived around there. That area is a beautiful area. My city here is not so bad, but like I envision myself where it's like, if I can be super successful, I would love to live by there, because waking up by the beach or just waking up in that area, just smelling the beach,
Yeah.
it's a different experience in itself.
Grant, how far do you live from the beach?
a little bit less than Tony.
Yeah, it's like, I think he lives like 15 minutes less.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I like the ocean too. It's definitely an interesting notion, but I agree with Tony. You gotta have a couple pretty successful businesses to be owning a property. I was just thinking about that the other day. I was delivering pizzas to like $3.5 million homes out here. I couldn't even imagine delivering to that same kind of houses out there. Those probably are double that easily, especially in this current real estate market. But yeah, no, I mean, I've kind of been a little bit all over the place. I've lived in Oregon, I've lived in California, I lived in Mississippi for a year, and stayed a little bit of time in Texas. I don't know. Have you ever been to Texas, Chris? There's not really much hiking because it's mostly flat.
Oh yeah, dude. Like I was stationed in Texas while I was in the military for 6 months one time, and then another 2 months a second time. But I mean,
Okay.
every time I've been there, I don't know. I found some trails.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
it wasn't like a lot of mountain stuff, but still in
Yeah.
nature. You know.
Sure. Yeah, Texas is a really nice state. I'm sure I'll get flamed for that, but
No. I went to Austin in January, and Austin's pretty cool. But the one thing I'll like will say about Texas is like every day the weather was different, and
oh my god.
it was wild. Like it would rain one day, and like the next day it was just like clear skies. But the day I left, like I was taking my luggage out of the hotel that I was staying in, and it was just so windy in Austin that my luggage was like started to fly, and I was like, whoa,
Oh
what the hell's
man.
going on here? I like literally immediately went outside, and all of a sudden I started flying. I'm like, holy shit, we don't got this in California. But yeah, Texas is not too bad, but there's aspects of it where it's like flat like a pancake, basically.
Yeah. Nice state though. I really enjoyed it when I visit there. I got an uncle out that way, so he's out in Dallas.
Very cool. All right, guys, we're coming up at the end. I just wanted to check and see if there's anything you guys wanted to talk about or anything we want to talk about in a future episode that we didn't cover, or
I think we can talk about it in the messenger and get something nailed out. I got a couple ideas.
I got some ideas after this call as well.
For sure.
And Chris, I know we talked about some of the stuff, but we can definitely talk about the other stuff in a future episode as well. We're probably not going to do an episode next week because that will be in Chicago, but the following week we can definitely sit down and do an episode. I may try to get some other guests. I'm going to be in contact with a few other guys who want to talk about their mental health journey and stuff. So we'll definitely get into that as well.
That'd be awesome. I'd love to talk to more people.
All right. Well,
not enough for you guys.
I'm good. You guys have a great upcoming week. All right.
And a good Father's Day.
Yeah. Happy
Father's Day.
And then Grant, take it away.
Yes, sir. We got one last question for you here for this episode is, have you lifted your mood today?
All right, awesome. Thank you guys for watching. If you need anything, remember the Facebook group is open. Feel free to comment at any time if you need help with something. If you want to direct message us, you can. But we love for you to be interactive in the group and just communicate with one another because we're here to lift each other up. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Take care, guys.